She discovered a force that changed science forever, and it slowly killed her. This is the story of Marie Curie, the woman who touched the invisible and paid the ultimate price for her genius. Imagine being a brilliant mind, a woman in a world dominated by men, living in poverty, yet driven by an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. That was Maria Skłodowska, born in Warsaw, Poland. From a young age, her intellect was undeniable, but the doors to higher education were slammed shut for women in her homeland. So she worked as a governess, saving every penny, dreaming of Paris. Finally, at 24, she made it to the Sorbonne. She lived on bread, butter, and tea, often fainting from hunger. But her passion for science burned brighter than any hardship. It was there she met Marie Curie, a brilliant physicist who saw her not just as a woman, but as an intellectual equal. They fell in love, married, and formed one of the most legendary partnerships in scientific history. Together, in a cramped, leaky shed that was more a shack than a laboratory, they embarked on a monumental task. They were fascinated by Henry Becquerel's discovery of mysterious rays emitted by uranium. Marie suspected that another, more powerful element was hiding within the ore. To prove it, they had to process tons of pitchblende, a heavy, black mineral. This wasn't glamorous work. It was back-breaking physical labor. They stirred giant vats of boiling toxic chemicals, their hands raw and burned. For 4 grueling years they toiled, slowly, painstakingly, isolating tiny amounts of 2 new elements. The first she named polonium, after her beloved homeland. The second was a substance that glowed with an eerie, beautiful blue light in the dark. They called it radium, from the Latin word for ray. They had discovered radioactivity, a term Marie herself coined. This new force was 1,000,000 times more powerful than anything known before. It shattered the long-held belief that atoms were indivisible and unchanging. Science was turned on its head, and the Curies were at the center of it all. In 1903, they, along with Becquerel, were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics. Marie Curie became the first woman ever to win a Nobel. But their discovery had a dark side they didn't yet understand. The very elements they handled with their bare hands, the glowing tubes of radium they kept by their bedside like a nightlight, were emitting a silent, invisible danger. They were constantly tired, their bodies ached, and Marie suffered a miscarriage. They attributed it to overwork, never suspecting the real cause. Tragedy struck in 1906. Pierre was killed in a street accident, leaving Marie devastated and alone with 2 young daughters. The world expected her to fade away, but she refused. She stepped into his professorship at the Sorbonne, becoming its first female professor. She pushed on with their work, determined to honor his memory by continuing their shared dream. In 1911, her relentless dedication earned her a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry for her isolation of pure radium. She remains the only person to ever win Nobels in 2 different scientific fields. But the invisible poison was taking its toll. The constant exposure to radiation was destroying her body from the inside. Her notebooks, her clothes, Even her cookbooks from that era are still so radioactive today that they have to be stored in lined boxes. Her health deteriorated over the years, leading to her death in 1934 from aplastic anemia, a direct result of her life's work. Here lies the profound moral twist of Marie Curie's story. The force that she gave her life to understand, the very thing that slowly killed her, would go on to save millions. Radium became a cornerstone of cancer treatment, and her research paved the way for nuclear energy and countless medical innovations. Her sacrifice fueled progress, turning her personal tragedy into a gift for humanity. Marie Curie wasn't just a scientist. She was a rebel, a pioneer, and a martyr for knowledge. She fought against poverty, sexism, and the scientific establishment to change the world. Her story is a powerful, haunting reminder that the path to discovery is often paved with sacrifice, and that sometimes, to illuminate the world, one must be willing to stand in the fire. Thank you so much for watching. If you were inspired by Marie Curie's incredible story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of remarkable minds. See you next time.